we have a quorum. No problem. Thank you. All right. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Members of the public are advised that our meetings are webcast live by the City of Hamilton and temporarily archived on the city's website. Other individuals and the media may also be audibly and/or visually recording this meeting. All electronic devices are to be switched to a non-audible function during committee meetings. Madam Clerk, are there any changes to the agenda?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we have a number of changes to the agenda. Under item 5.1, we have two new pieces of correspondence, both respecting curling facilities in Hamilton. 5.1C is correspondence from the Hamilton Area Curling Association, and item 5.1D is correspondence from Curling Canada. Both are to be received. We have a notice of motion under item 12. Item 12.1, funding for women's entrepreneurship collective business out of the box. We have a private and confidential item 14.1, appointments to various City of Hamilton advisory committees for the 2018 to 2022 term. We also have a couple of typographical errors and other errors to note. In item 7.1, the Seniors Advisory Committee minutes, Councillor Jackson's name is missing from the attendance, so we'll be making that correction. And then in item 10.2, intraosseous needle replacement, report HSC 19025 citywide, contains a typographical error in recommendation D and elsewhere. The project ID number should read 76419511102. There's a 2 missing at the end.
Okay. Are we going to be tested on this later? Thank you. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Now, may I have a mover and a seconder to approve the agenda as amended? Moved by Clerk, seconded by Jackson. All in favor? Carried. And that's an electronic vote. Yes, it is. Okay. And now, are there any declarations of interest? Hearing none. A reminder that if you have a conflict of interest, you will have to complete a municipal conflict of interest declaration form, in addition to declaring their interests at meetings as required by Section 5 of the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. Now, moving on to 4. May I please have a mover and a seconder to approve minutes of the April 16th, 2019 meeting? And that's moved by Nan and seconded by Pauls. All in favor? Carried, and we need an electronic vote. I'm predicting it's going to get carried. And that carries. All right, then. May I please have a mover and seconder to approve the minutes of April 16th? Moved by Jackson, seconded by Pauls. All in favor? Oh, sorry. I just wanted to see if you guys were listening. Moving on, may I please have a mover and a seconder to receive the communications? Moved by Clark, seconded by Jackson. All in favor? I don't respond to you. Someone, I don't know. Councillor Collins.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. I have had the opportunity to meet with Mr. Hode and Mr. Serwatic on multiple occasions. Of course, they were part of the curling club on Mount Albion at Glendale Golf Course. And so if I could just ask, I have had meetings, not just with them, but with rec staff as well, with Chris. And I think the suggestion was that they be referred to staff and that staff report on the issue of curling as part of our recreation facility review that we undertake and I think is on the horizon. So if that direction could be added to what's in front of us, I think that would help.
Okay, and I presume Councillor Jackson will do just that. Moved by Jackson, seconded by Nan. All in favor? Carried. Many thanks for your appearance here today, Councillor Collins. Now may I have a mover and seconder to receive the communications? Moved by Clark, seconded by Pauls. All in favor? Carried. Now, moving on to delegation requests. Angela Puglisi, respecting youth with developmental disabilities, turning 18, being discharged and cut from services and funding from our province, requesting for the City of Hamilton's support in Noah and Gregory's bill, ensuring that support continues with no gap in services upon a child's 18th birthday. May I please have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Clark, seconded by Nan. All in favor. And this requires an e-vote. And that carries. Moving on to consent items. And this is, the first is 7.1, the Seniors Advisory Committee minutes. Are there any questions respecting item 7.1? Thank you, Councillor Jackson. So moved by Jackson, seconded by Pauls. All in favor to receive the Advisory Committee minutes. Carried. Moving on to 10.1, requirements for the First Nation host community. Are there any questions? Hearing none or seeing none. May I please have a mover and a seconder to receive the report? Moved by Clark, seconded by Pauls. All in favor? Carried. Now moving on to 10.2, with respect to the needle replacement. Are there any questions of staff or discussion respecting item 10.2? And we have Councillor Jackson.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. And just a quick question to Chief Sanderson. Chief, I read the background, and you said, I guess, the manual way your paramedics have been doing it. Now you got more modern equipment. So did the more modern equipment just come upon us, and you had kind of forecasted that by putting about $172,000 aside in the budget? Or, if you will, you were preserving that amount of money for further down the road? I'm just curious about the timing. I'm supportive. I'm just curious about the timing of it. Through you, Mr. Chairman, please.
Who would like to respond to that?
Through you, Mr. Chair. The device is not a new device. Actually, when I was in Vancouver, we utilized the device in 2009 was the earliest that I've seen it being used. It's been a device that we've not had the opportunity to put into place in Hamilton before. It's relatively new in the province of Ontario over the last 5 to 6 years. We have had it on the radar for a significant period of time. The opportunity that we saw, looking at it in the springtime, Deputy Chief Crocker was looking at the process as we were doing the helmet replacement. And as we found out, we were able to do the helmet replacement process significantly cheaper than anticipated, rather than ending that project and leaving surplus in that project at the end of it. We preferred to bring forward this opportunity to improve patient care for the public that we serve through monies that's already been set aside for capital purchase, albeit for a different type of capital.
Thanks so much, Chief. I commend you for bringing this forward to better look after the patients within the ambulances. Thanks, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor Jackson. Are there any other speakers? Seeing none, may I have a motion moved by Paul, seconded by Nan, all in favor? And this is an e-vote. And that carries. Now we have a notice of motion. Now, Madam Clerk, by Councillor Nan. Councillor Nan, can you request? Thank you.
Through the chair, requesting to waive the rules for this motion.
Moved by yourself, seconded by Jackson. All in favor? Electronic vote. And the motion to waive the rules has passed. Now we have the motion. Councillor Nan, the floor is yours.
Thank you to the chair.
Oh, sorry, you're back on again, sorry.
Here we go. For waiving the rules, this is to fund a women's entrepreneurship collective, Business Out of the Box, where partners between the YWCA, Hamilton, McMaster University, and Leafbox Concepts essentially are repurposing shipping containers to become accessible front-facing businesses for immigrants and newcomers in Ward 3. And the project is underway. They have a shortfall of $1,500 that I'll be moving to fund through the Ward 3 Area Rating Reserve Account, 108053, to be allocated to this social infrastructure project. Moved by
you.
myself and seconded by Councillor Jackson.
Moved by Nan, seconded by Jackson. All in favor? And electronic vote. Okay, and that passes. Moving on to item 14.1, which is the appointments to various City of Hamilton advisory committees. Members of the committee, do you wish to move into closed session? If not, let's move forward. So we'll move forward. Moved by Jackson, seconded by Nan. All in favor? Yes. Oh, sorry. Councillor Jackson.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman, and I just want to say two things, hopefully endorsing this list of these wonderful citizens on these three advisories, Seniors Advisory, Veterans, and Homelessness. I just want to say two things. Number one, it was a pleasure being on the selection committee with Councillor Pauls, our chair, and Councillor Nan, our vice chair, and myself. We must have interviewed probably, I'm guessing, between 70 and 80 applicants to come to this number on these three advisory committees. So we're truly blessed in terms of our community, the enthusiasm and interest of our citizens wanting to serve. And secondly, I just want to also thank Tamara Bates, who kept our roadmaps and kept us guided through a multitude of meetings over the last couple of months and ensured that we reached the outcome that we ultimately did. So proud to move this slate of citizens to serve us for the next 3.5 to 4 years. Thank you.
Well said. Thank you, Councillor Jackson. And Councillor Pauls, may I have a motion, please? And can you request the councillor? There you go. There you go. You have a motion in front of you to move the appointees?
I just have to read the names? No, just, okay. Okay, so we're moving this for the three advisory committee, for the senior, for the Hamilton Veteran Committee, and for the Housing and Homelessness Advisory.
Okay, so moved by Paul, seconded by Jackson. All in favor? And we need electronic vote. And in record time, motion to adjourn. Moved by Clark, seconded by Nan. All in favor? Carried. Thanks, everyone.